One thing that you all have as an advantage is you've been able to take the long view, and you've been through recessions before. Danny mentioned late 80s, there was a recession. We had one in the 90s also. So how do you weather these storms? Obviously, it's not the end of the world. Fine dining isn't over as we know it right now. We happened this conversation 20 years ago. How are those different from what we have today, what you're seeing? And just tell us how you navigated those storms, whether it was how you did a book differently, reacting to the audience, how you did a restaurant differently, how you did something differently, or how you navigated.
No, I'm not in any recessions. My restaurants are all up 35% this year, so there's no problem whatsoever. I don't even have to think about it at all. We've sat back and said, the hell with it.
Good.
No, this one is different. I'm not an economist, and I can't answer as to when it's going to end. I feel the same way as Danny. It may be another month, it may be another 2 years. This one definitely is different. All of my restaurants are down somewhere between 15 and 20%. And the one thing that I have that many other people that run restaurants, let's say high-end in dollars, my restaurants average about $80 per person, and I'm known around the country as an advertiser. And very few people in the high end of the restaurant business advertise. I'm all over television, I'm all over radio, I do full page ads in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. My theory is very simple. If Tiffany's can advertise and Mercedes can advertise, it seems to me that Smith & Wollensky or any other restaurant on the high end can advertise. I don't look at it as being bad. I look at it as being good. I look at it as being able to tell my story and being able to tell the restaurant story. And we are over the top when it comes to a percentage of our gross for advertising. We spend an awful lot of money. In down times, we advertise more than we do in good times. In good times, we don't have to advertise very much, so we hopefully make all that money. But right now, we're out there yelling that we are as good as everybody else trying to grab market share. And that's an answer for me, which very few people on the high end would be able to say.
Where do you find the best traction with that ad dollar? In newspaper?
I can tell you the only story I know of it, I guess you go back 25, 30 years. One of the chairmen of Coca-Cola said, I spend $129 million a year advertising. I know $59 million is fantastic and $59 million is terrible, and I wish I knew which one to go with. That's a true story and a true quote. I have no idea. I really don't. It's very hard in the restaurant business to clock what your advertising does. I will tell you that in a small restaurant of 150 seats, if we take out a full-page ad in the New York Times, and we have a New York restaurant, we would expect the next week to have at least 30 or 40 people a day that we could count going up. Not true. Doesn't work that way. It's long-term, sophisticated, let it be and let people know that you're there. And the example of Tiffany's, who owns page 3 in the New York Times for the last 30 years, every day, every way, the top right-hand corner is theirs. I guess that counts for something, or at least they think that it does. So the best thing that we do, and we do all of the things that everybody else does. We watch things, we cut things, our wine inventories are down. We don't change the value of our food, we don't change our prices, we don't change the qualities, but we try and run them as well as we can.